Okay, so four type of teeth are there, inside the canine, premolar and molar. And inside the mouth, along with the teeth, what other thing is there which is very important in the mouth? Just raise your hand. Yes, Mantasha Mariam, you tell me. Along with teeth, the other organ which is very important in the mouth.
Ma'am, your voice is not coming, it's breaking.
Your people voice is so clear. I don't know why my voice is not clear.
Ma'am, please repeat your question.
My question is that along with the teeth, what other organ is there in the mouth which is very important for the digestion?
Ma'am, please repeat.
I'm repeating. It's not audible at all. It's not audible at all. I'm just not audible to you.
Yes, ma'am, not clear.
The other organ along with the teeth which is there in the mouth.
Oh, ma'am, it's breaking.
I have to sit outside. Okay, I'll try by sitting outside. Okay, I'm just asking that in the mouth, the teeth are very important for the mechanical breakdown. Yes, and along with the teeth, what is another organ is there for the for that for the digestion or for the mechanical breakdown. What other organ is there? Yes, Isma, you tell me. Isma, yes, you tell me. Along with the teeth, which other organ is there in the mouth?
Ma'am, please repeat the question. Ma'am, we are having tongue.
Yes. So, what is the function of tongue?
Ma'am, like when we are chewing our food, so saliva is also.
Yes. Its first function is that it helps to mix with the saliva.
The saliva,
And
the salivary glands are present. Yes, ma'am.
Another function is that it pushes towards the teeth. When at the time of chewing the food, the function of the tongue is pushes the food towards the teeth. So it means
Yes,
it
ma'am.
help in
And I want to ask that why
chewing.
tongue can be never dry.
Because of that, this is only the saliva is released from the salivary gland, and it also helps in tasting the food because it has taste bud. So taste buds are there, and with the help of taste bud, we are capable to taste the delicious foods, the different tastes we can have because of this taste bud which are present on the tongue. If they would not be there, what would happen? The all food will be of the same taste. So the different taste we able to feel, that's because of the taste bud.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. What was the question, please?
Now,
Tell.
I think some problem, Mantisha, with you only because
Along with what we are having the
Isma has
channel
already given
order
answer
is
of this
yet.
question. Means
What is the question? Please repeat.
Mantasha, you have some
Ma'am has
problem with the
asked you only
connectivity.
first that along the teeth which organ we are having in our oral cavity. That's I'm not unable to answer.
You are not able to answer because you have some connectivity problem. I think I'm audible to other student because you people are audible to me. If connectivity problem would be there, then you people would not be what you can say audible to me. So I am able to listen you, I can hear you. If you are not able to hear me or some voice is interrupted, that is maybe because of your connectivity. Now let's start pharynx. Okay, so pharynx is, I'll show you. I'll try to.
Yes, now it's clear. Yes. Mohammed Zain, it's clear. Akshay Kumar, it's clear.
Okay, so now let's start pharynx. So what is pharynx? Here just you see this portion. This portion is pharynx. Means it's a muscular tube situated at the posterior of the oral cavity. Oral cavity, I told you, mouth. So it's just posterior of the oral cavity here, and it serves as the common passage for food and air. This is common passage for food and air. This is here. So here this is the common passage for food and as well as for the air. Food goes into the esophagus and air goes into the trachea. So this the common passage is the pharynx. Then esophagus. Then esophagus, it's a tube. Here you can see that it extends from the mouth to the stomach. See here, this is mouth. I'll show you. See, this is mouth. This is mouth. And then here from this only, this esophagus extend from the mouth only, and from where it is started, from the mouth, and from where it ends to the stomach. So it's a passage to pass the food from mouth to the stomach. It's a passage from that is just a passage. Here no digestion occur, just it transfer the food from mouth to the stomach. Just the food passes through it. So it's there from the neck region at the back of the throat. This esophagus we are talking about. This is mouth to the stomach and passes through the neck region at the back of the throat. And it has two type of muscles. Here in esophagus, this tube is made up of muscles. So it's a muscular tube and it's having two type of muscles, longitudinal muscle and circular muscles. So in this, two type of muscles are there, and its wall that help in pushing the food, means they contract and relax, and in this way they help to push the food towards the mouth. So the longitudinal and circular muscles are there, they just contract and relax, and in this way they push the food towards the towards the stomach. So this contraction and relaxation, they just help to push the food. And how many types of muscles are there in the esophagus? Longitudinal and circular. Yes. Now stomach. So stomach is the, if we talk about the broadest portion of the alimentary canal is the stomach. So it is an expandable, means it can expand also. It's just like a balloon, means like when we eat, it can expand at that time. And it's a J-shaped sac-like organ, just a just sac-like organ is it is, and it is located on the left side of the abdominal cavity. So left side of the abdominal cavity you can see here in this picture, and at the end of the and it start at the end of the esophagus, means where the esophagus and it start at that point, and where it is present at the left side of the abdominal cavity, and it has a strong muscular wall having gastric glands. Strong muscular wall for the two reasons: they having the gastric glands also to release the gastric juices which helpful in digestion, and of course for the rhythmic movement also, means the rhythmic movement occurring in the stomach which helpful in mixing the food with the gastric juices. So these gastric juices which are released by the gastric glands which are present in the wall of the stomach, they having the hydrochloric acid, means the gastric juice containing the hydrochloric acid, and the digestive enzymes pepsin and renin. So pepsin and renin are also present along with the hydrochloric acids. So these gastric juices, means in the gastric juices are having the hydrochloric acid and pepsin and renin which helpful in digestion of food. Because in food partial breakdown of food occur. Partial breakdown, partial means half digestion of the food occur in the stomach only. So partial breakdown occur in the stomach. Partial means half. After that, which organ is there? Small intestine. Means first we ingest the food in the through the mouth. Here the mechanical breakdown occur, and along with that chemical breakdown also started. Means the carbohydrate start digesting in the mouth only, and then this semi-digested food, that is passed through the esophagus and reaches to the stomach. Here in the stomach, what happened? Gastric juices are released from the gastric glands. They are present in the wall of the stomach. These gastric juices having hydrochloric acid, pepsin and renin. These pepsin, renin and hydrochloric acid helpful in digestion of food. So with the help of this gastric juice, food in the stomach, that is digested partially. Means partial digestion of the food occur in the stomach. After that, this partial digested food, this half digested food, that move to the next part of the alimentary canal, that is the small intestine. So it's a narrow and extremely coiled tube. Means it's a coiled tube. It's a narrow and coiled tube. Stomach is expanded structure, sac-like structure, and that expandable also, means it can expand also, but in small intestine it is narrow and extremely coiled. Here you can see this portion, small intestine. So this portion, you can see that these tubes are narrow and extremely coiled also. And where they present? Behind the stomach. They present behind the stomach, and it has three parts. Stomach has three parts: upper, middle and lower. How many parts are there in the stomach? Upper, middle and lower. Upper part is duodenum, middle is jejunum, and the lower part, this is small intestine is having a three part: upper, middle and the lower. So duodenum, jejunum and ileum. This small intestine is narrow, extremely coiled organ, and what happened? Where this is divided into three parts. It has three parts, you can say. The first, the upper part, that is just attached to the stomach, that is duodenum, and then the next to the duodenum is jejunum, and the last part of the small intestine is ileum. So these are the three parts: duodenum, just repeat in your heart: duodenum, jejunum, ileum. Duodenum, jejunum, ileum, they are the three parts of the small intestine. The inner wall of the small intestine contains numerous finger-like projections. Means if we see from the inner side small intestine, we see that the small finger-like projections are there, like the small finger-like projection or small this longitudinal projections are there on the inner side of the wall. They are called villi, 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 and they are very important. They are very important. Why? Because whatever the digestion occur in the means like in alimentary canal, you can say, in digestive system, because some of the digestion occur in the mouth, that is only carbohydrate started digesting, then partial digestion occur in the stomach, and the digestion completed in the small intestine. Here in small intestine, food is completely digested. Now what happened to the nutrient, means after digestion, means the food now converted completely in the nutrient. Now the food is ready to be absorbed by the body, but how? They are there in the small intestine. So how it will go to the blood, how the blood carry to the different part of the body, because these nutrients are needed by the all cell of the body. So how it reaches to the all cell of the body? These villis are richly supplied with the blood capillaries. So the blood capillaries, they absorb nutrient and send it to the blood stream. So these nutrients, they are absorbed by the blood capillaries which are present on the villi, on the finger like projection which are present on the small intestine, and then they send to the blood stream, and from the blood stream it reaches to the all part of the body or every cell of the body, because the nutrients are needed by all cell of the body. So the function of the villi is to increase the surface area for absorption of digested nutrient. So that the food which is digested in the small intestine, because the digestion completed in the small intestine, so those nutrients are absorbed through the villi, and the villi, their function is to increase the surface area, because they just, you can see on the picture on the page number 53 here, that the finger like projections are present, so they just increase the surface area. And the main thing is that they are richly supplied with blood capillaries. You can see on the page number 53 diagram A or the picture A, in this red and blue tubes are visible, they are the blood capillaries. So these blood capillaries, they just absorb the nutrient and send these nutrient to the blood stream. So in a small intestine, what happens? The food is completely digested, and through the villi it sent to the blood stream. From the blood stream, blood carry the nutrient to the all cell of the body. Now the useful part of the food, that is absorbed by the blood through the villi. Now the undigested food, now which is, you can say, waste product. What happened to the waste product here? The waste product, now which cannot be digested further, what happened to that food? That food is moved to the next part, next organ, that is called large intestine. So here this food is moved to the large intestine. So it's a little wider than the small intestine, but comparatively shorter in length. Means the small intestine, that is longer, and large intestine, it is shorter. So comparatively it is shorter, and comparatively it is wider. So because of the diameter, because of the it is comparatively wider, that's considered as large intestine. And the small intestine is narrow or thinner, comparatively thinner, that's why it is small intestine. Though the small intestine is longer in length and the large intestine is shorter in length, and as the small intestine having the three part, duodenum, jejunum and ileum, In the same way, large intestine is also having three parts: cecum, colon and rectum. Cecum, colon and rectum. Repeat, repeat in your heart: cecum, colon and rectum. So cecum is a pouch shaped structure that connect the small intestine to the large intestine. So you can say the first part of the large intestine is cecum, and that is connected to the small intestine. So cecum is a pouch shaped structure that connect the small intestine to the large intestine, and it lead to the colon. So one end of the cecum is connected to the small intestine, another end is connected to the colon. Colon is the largest part of the large intestine, and it is further subdivided into three parts: ascending colon, transverse colon and descending colon. The colon is the longest part of the intestine. Colon is the largest part of the large intestine, and it is further divided into three parts: ascending, transverse and descending. Ascending colon, transverse colon and descending colon. And the last part of the large intestine is rectum. Rectum is the lowest part of the large intestine, and it is located at the end of the descending colon. So rectum is the lowest part of the large intestine, and where it is located? At the end of the descending colon, means where the descending colon ends, rectum starts. So the last part of the large intestine is rectum. Now rectum opens to the exterior through the opening that is called anus. So anus is provided with sphincter muscles. They having the sphincter muscles, and they can be contract and relax, they can be open and close, you can say. So relaxation of these muscles expel the undigested food waste called feces to the exterior. So when these muscles they just relax, then the undigested food that is stored there in rectum, that is expelled out, that is excreted out, that is get rid from the digestive system, you can say. So the main function of the digestive system is to digest the food and provide the nutrient to the body, but at the end of the process some of the waste products are left, that has to be excreted out, that has to be removed from the body. So it is excreted out also, the waste product, the semi solid waste that is left after the digestion, that should be excreted out. So it is excreted out, but the main function of the digestive system is to digest the food. So because the main function is to digest the food, that's why the name is digestive system. So here we covered the alimentary canal. Now just raise your hand and tell me the different part of the small intestine. Ahmed Ali Abdullah. Ahmed Ali Abdullah. Tell me the name the three part of the small intestine.
Three part of the small intestine.
Yes.
One is
Yes.
one is central anus.
I ask, listen, I ask the different part of small intestine. Small intestine.
Small.
Hmm. Tell me then. Yes.
One is the small intestine. If there are three parts, D.
Yes. Hamza Khamar, you tell me. Hamza Khamar, you tell me.
Yes, ma'am. Now I'm telling.
Hmm.
The
three parts of the small intestine are first part is called stomach, the middle part is called jejunum, and third part is called ileum.
Duodenum. First part is duodenum. Second part jejunum. And the third part ileum. Yes? Muhammad Ammar. Muhammad Ammar. Yes, Muhammad Ammar. Tell me the three part of the small intestine quickly. Yes. Yes, Adiba, you tell me. Adiba. Adiba. Yes, Adiba. Yes, Adiba, tell me.
Ma'am, the three parts of small intestine are duodenum, jejunum, and ileum.
Jejunum.
Okay, ma'am.
And the third part? Duodenum, jejunum, and third part is ileum.